So many science fiction novels of the 2010s got showered with Hugo, Nebula, or Locus attention. But what about the ones that didn't? In this episode, I'm uncovering the best sci fi reads of the decade that never got a single award nomination, yet still deserve a place on your shelf. Some of these are wildly inventive, some are cult favorites, and some might leave you wondering how on earth did this one get snubbed? Hey there, I'm Jim with Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father, me, and a son, Zach, who's not here today, like to talk about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been with us for a while, welcome back. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. We have a lot of them coming out. And in fact, our next episode, Zach shows up again. He does do this from time to time, and I look forward to sharing another episode when he and I are having a lot of quirky fun. By the way, huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. Some of you have been with us for a long time, and we truly appreciate your support. It helps keep this channel going. If you'd like to join the fellowship, check out the link down below in the show notes. It's time now for the big finale of this series. We started with the 1960s, and today we arrive in the 2010s. Throughout this decade, the big awards, Hugo, Nebula, Locus, Clarke, Campbell, BSFA, they highlighted some amazing works, no doubt, no complaint. But as with especially the 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s, I found a huge overlooked pile of gems. So once again, I've dug through the sales data, I've looked at the critical and fan reviews, and I aggregated the ratings from the fans, Storygraph, Goodreads, Amazon. And putting it all together, I've come up with the definitive best two science fiction books of these years that got no award nominations. Not even a attaboy, really good book. Nothing. And these should be on your radar. So here are the books that stood tall despite being ignored by the awards. We start with 2010, where the runner-up of the year is The Noise Within, book one of the Noise Within duology. This is by Ian Watts, or Waits, not sure how he pronounced it. Space opera this time, and a rogue starship mystery tale. A legendary pirate ship, possibly AI haunted, reappears after decades, and everyone from Black Ops agents to corporate raiders want a piece of it. As bodies and double crosses stack up, a disgraced scientist and a relentless government hunter converge on a secret tied to human AI integration. Waits keeps the throttle open. Crunchy tech, brisk set pieces, and a mystery that peels back to something far bigger than one outlaw ship. But the best of 2010 with no award nominations goes to Version 43 by Philip Palmer. This is a sci-fi detective tale, cyber noir, and a planetary adventure style. A cyborg cop, Version 43, rebuilt and rebooted more times than he can remember, lands on a criminal-run planet to solve an impossible murder. What starts as a whodunit sprawls into a gleefully unhinged conspiracy with AIs, cults, conspirators, and a city that bites back. Imagine RoboCop doing Chinatown on a lawless world. Darkly funny, punchy, and packed with big canvas SF ideas. Going on to 2011, the runner-up of the year is Fuzzy Nation, book 7 of the 9 books in the Fuzzy Sapiens series by John Scalzi. This is legal colonial science fiction and first contact ethics elements. And I found something about it actually being a licensed reboot of H. Beam Piper's Little Fuzzy. A maverick contractor strikes sunstone gold on a corporate owned planet right before discovering the adorable fuzzies might be people under the law. Cue courtroom fireworks, corporate skullduggery, and thorny questions about personhood and profit. It's brisk, funny, and sneakily sharp about how we decide who counts as us. But the best of 2011 goes to The Fear Index by Robert Harris. This is a techno thriller AI science fiction. A reclusive physicist builds an algorithmic trading AI that feeds on human fear, then watches it turn the markets and his life inside out over a single white knuckle day in Geneva. As bodies, balance sheets, and secrets pile up, the system starts making choices no human would dare. Harris delivers a sleek, propulsive, cautionary tale about finance, surveillance, and the moment a machine decides it doesn't need us. Heard of Terminator, anyone? This gives you a new, fresh spin. Let's go on to 2012, where the runner up of this year is Year Zero by Rob Reed. Comic first contact and legal satirical science fiction. Aliens have binged on Earth's pop music since Year Zero, accidentally racking up a copyright bill so big it could bankrupt the universe. A low level entertainment lawyer becomes the one human who can navigate interstellar IP law and maybe prevent a cosmic catastrophe. It's a bright, fizzy satire that still sneaks in sharp science fiction ideas about culture, economics, and what counts as value. The best for 2012 goes to The Long Earth, book one of the Long Earth Quintet, a collaboration of Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. This is parallel worlds and multiverse science fiction. A simple, steeper box lets anyone hop sideways into an endless chain of parallel Earths, untouched, unspoiled, and full of strange possibilities. As humanity floods into the multiverse, a loner and a post human AI set off to uncover what lies further than anyone dared explore. Big ideas, a sense of wonder, and some cheeky humor makes sense with Pratchett, mark the start of an ambitious series that somehow slipped past the awards. This one is genuinely shocking. Continuing to 2013, the runner up of the year is Love Minus 80 by Will McIntosh. This is near future, cryogenics, and social science fiction. In a future where the rich can date cryogenically preserved women at 80 below zero, a struggling musician falls for one of the frozen brides. Around them swirl dating coaches, reality shows, and desperate schemes of a society ruled by class and technology. Macintosh blends human warmth, frozen, see what I did there? With biting social critique in a poignant, award-worthy story overlooked for the big ballots. The best of 2013, though, goes to Martian Sands by Levi Tidhar. Dystopian science fiction, alternate history, and Mars colony type of story. On a struggling Martian colony, politics and identity intertwine in a story of time travel, terrorism, and Jewish history. Tidhar riffs on pulp tropes while cutting deep with allegory. Compact, experimental, and strikingly original, it's something usually the awards adore, yet somehow this one was ignored. Let's go on to 2014, where the runner-up is The Flight of the Silvers, book one of the Silvers trilogy by Daniel Price. This is multiverse and superhero-tinged sci-fi. Six strangers are saved from apocalypse by mysterious guardians and wake to find themselves in a parallel Earth where physics runs on different rules. Gifted with strange new abilities, they're hunted by enemies who understand this reality far better than they do. Price launches a sprawling cinematic series that fuses multiverse science fiction with superhero energy. Best of 2014 to get no nominations for any of these big awards is Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Thomas Sweterlich. Near future dystopia and VR noir sci-fi. 10 years after Pittsburgh is wiped off the map, it survives only inside a vast VR simulation where one grieving widower endlessly searches for traces of his wife. When he uncovers disturbing fragments buried in the code, his private obsession becomes a conspiracy thriller. Sweterlich blends cyberpunk paranoia with poignant grief in a noirish debut that slipped under the awards radar. Again, shocking misses in this decade, more so than any of the previous ones. The runner-up for 2015 is Saturn Run by Jan Sanford and Katine. Hard science fiction, near future space race elements. When a mysterious alien object slows into Saturn's orbit, the US and China race to be the first to intercept it. Crews face hard science challenges, political tension, and the possibility of first contact. Sanford and Katine deliver a thriller-style, tech-grounded adventure that reads like a Crichtonized Clarke. High praise. But the best for 2015, with no nominations, is The Traitor Baru Cormorant, Book 1 of the Masquerade trilogy by Seth Dickinson. Political, economic sci-fi with fantasy trappings, but structured on sci-fi colonial biotech themes. Baru Cormorant vows to destroy the empire that colonized her home, not with armies, but with finance, law, and ruthless subterfuge. Rising inside the empire's bureaucracy, she turns every weapon of civilization into a blade. Dickinson delivers a cerebral, devastating look at identity and imperialism that hit readers hard, but evaded award ballots. Again, I'm shocked. For 2016, the runner-up for the year is Sleeping Giants, Book 1 of the Themis Files trilogy by Sylvain Neuvel. First contact and giant robot science fiction. A girl falls through the earth and lands in a giant metal hand. Decades later, she's part of a team reconstructing the titanic alien robot it belongs to. Told via transcripts, reports, and interviews, a fascinating approach, the story unfolds as a global conspiracy thriller with escalating stakes. Neuvel reinvents mecha tropes with a modern documentary-style spin. Best of 2016, with no nominations at all, is Version Control by Dexter Palmer. Near future, time tech, relationship science fiction. A physicist builds what he insists is not a time machine, but a causality bending device that alters the fabric of memory and reality. His wife begins to sense her life isn't quite her own, with echoes of paths not taken. Palmer weaves domestic drama with bold speculation in a novel both intimate and mind-bending. Let's go on to 2017, where the runner-up of the year, how did this not get awards? Artemis by Andy Weir. Lunar colony sci-fi and a heist thriller. Jazz Bashara, a hustler in the first lunar city, gets tangled in a conspiracy after what was supposed to be a simple smuggling job. Soon, she's dodging gangsters, corporations, and the law in a fragile outpost where one mistake could kill thousands. Weir blends engineering puzzles with crime caper energy in his follow-up to The Martian. But the best of 2017, with no nominations, is The Rise and Fall of Dodo, Book 1 of the Rise and Fall of Dodo duology. This is a collaboration between authors Neil Stevenson and Nicole Galland. It's time travel science fiction and a historical adventure. A linguist is recruited into a secret government project reviving magic, explained as a lost branch of quantum physics, so that they can alter history. Bureaucrats, soldiers, and witches collide in a sprawling caper across centuries. Stevenson and Galland mix science, satire, and swashbuckling in a playful, overlooked gem. For 2018, the runner up of the year is The Robots of Gotham by Todd McAulty. Near future AI war and a political thriller sci fi novel. In a mid 21st century America partially occupied by AI led regimes, a businessman in Chicago stumbles into a plot that could determine humanity's survival. With robots scheming like nations and humans caught between, alliances blur, and the line between savior and conqueror grows thin. McCarthy combines military intrigue, political world building, and blockbuster pacing in a debut that award committees ignored. But the best of 2018 goes to Gunpowder Moon by David Pedreira. Near future lunar sci fi, but also a murder mystery and a political thriller. On the eve of lunar resource wars, an experienced miner turned reluctant investigator must solve the first murder on the moon. His inquiry uncovers sabotage, international intrigue, and the fragile balance of humanity's presence beyond Earth. Pedreira blends hard science authenticity with thriller pacing in a tightly wound debut novel. Now, 2019. Another great year. The runner up goes to The Warehouse by Rob Hart. Near future dystopian science fiction and corporate satire. In a climate ravaged future, the giant megacorporation Cloud dominates society, housing its workers in sprawling compounds where every move is tracked. Big Brother, anyone? A security recruit and a warehouse employee uncovers secrets that could topple or cement the system. Hart blends satire, thriller beats, and chilling plausibility in a novel hailed as the dystopia of Amazon's world, yet again ignored by the awards. But the best of 2019, I'm going to give to Delta V, book one in the Delta V duology by Daniel Suarez. Hard science fiction, space exploration, and near future thriller. A billionaire recruits a ragtag team of adventurers for a daring asteroid mining expedition meant to kickstart humanity's space economy. But when disaster strikes in deep space, survival becomes as much about teamwork and grit as technology. Suarez fuses real-world space science with high-stakes suspense in a propulsive, overlooked gem. Okay, that's the last decade I'm going to do. The 2020s are still evolving, and I just didn't want to dive into them. But bonus, let's do 2020. I've got a runner-up that I'm giving to Heaven's River, book 4 of the Bobbyverse Quintet. I'm glad I get to mention Bobbyverse. This is by Dennis E. Taylor. It's a space opera, and it's about AI consciousness. The Bobbyverse continues as the AI Bobs chase the disappearance of one of their own into an interstellar river system of alien megastructures. What begins as a rescue grows into a quest across cultures and scales of time. Taylor keeps the humor, philosophy, and sense of wonder alive in a fan favorite entry overlooked by awards. But the best of 2020 to get no award nominations goes to Providence by Max Berry. First Contact and AI War Sci-Fi. 4 humans crew a vast AI-driven warship, part of a fleet designed to crush an insectoid alien menace. As their years-long mission stretches on, their roles become more symbolic than functional, until something goes wrong with the Providence itself. Barry fuses satire, tension, and character drama into a sharp take on war, propaganda, and the human need for meaning. And there you have it. 10 years plus the bonus year of brilliant science fiction that somehow never made the big ballots. Which of these have you read? And which ones do you think absolutely deserved recognition back in the day? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Put them down there in the comments. Again, this is the final episode of this series. I hope you've enjoyed this entire journey. The 2020s still very much developing, so I don't want to touch the other years yet. They're too much in flux. But have fun exploring for yourself the fantastic science fiction that's out there just waiting for your discovery. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who loves discovering excellent, overlooked sci fi as well. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive or other nerdy content coming your way, including the next episode where you finally get to see Zach again. Thanks again to our amazing Patreon supporters. You truly keep the channel thriving. Thanks for watching. And as always, we'll talk to you next time.